So it's nap time, and we are like well into the toddler tantrum. I shouldn't say well. We are now in the toddler tantrum phase. It really didn't start until he was like 18 months. But wow. I feel like I'm handling it pretty well, but that doesn't mean it's not completely draining. So like when nap time comes, I'm like, yes! It is garbage truck. It is a lot of work to just keep your cool as a parent and just try to help them through their tantrums. Yeah. Anyway, just came outside to enjoy a little bit of fresh air before I get going on like nap time busyness, because you all know, if you're a mom, nap time is like the busiest time, because that's the time when you try to accomplish everything, which I'm pretty sure I've said that before, and that's been the same at like every age. So, and I'm gonna have to switch back and forth because my arm's gonna get tired, so you're gonna see like but I wanted to update you on kind of where we're at with the whole like getting ready for our transfer. So I took all 4 doses of the progesterone, which is called Crinone. It's 8% gel applicator, and I didn't have a reaction to any of those. So it was 4 doses, but it's morning and night. So I did a nighttime dose first, just so if I had a reaction it would be, and then like I could take Benadryl and then sleep it off. So I did a nighttime, so I did night, morning for the doses, and I didn't have a reaction to anything. So I went ahead and emailed the nurse and told her that I didn't have a reaction to anything, and told her we were ready to move forward, that we wanted to do it as soon as possible. So here's the thing with the Crinone progesterone. It is extremely expensive. When I say extremely expensive, one applicator from the pharmacy I got it at, one applicator is about $33, and you have to use it twice a day. So that's really $67, because some change. $67 a day in progesterone. And if you get pregnant, you have to take this progesterone until you are 10 weeks along, which we all know when you're 10 weeks, like you haven't actually known you've been pregnant for 10 weeks, right? Just because of the way the cycle is. So it ends up being approximately 56 days worth of progesterone that I would need to be on if I make it till 10 weeks, which at twice a day, that's 112 doses. 112 doses times $33 is a lot of money. It's like $3,600 or something. That's a ton of money. We all know that infertility is expensive, so if I have to pay that, like, it's not like it would be shocking or surprising to me, because I think when you kind of enter into the infertility game, you know that you're just going to be spending a lot of money. It's just unfortunate because there are other progesterones that are so much cheaper, other forms, but because I had an allergic reaction to those in March, we have been trying other options so that we can still do progesterone instead of having to go completely natural. So anyway, it's a good thing that I'm not allergic to this Crinone. However, it's a very bad thing because it is so expensive. But if I have to pay it, I will. However, my husband got on to look and see, like, got on the internet with our health insurance to look and see if it would be covered under insurance. And he didn't like talk to anybody. He just looked and he said it was there, and he said it would be covered at $50 for a 30-day, I don't know, 30-day treatment, I guess. But I don't know what that 30 days means, because for me, treatment is twice a day. I don't know if typically it's once a day. I don't know. So I don't know what 30 days would actually cover. And here's the other thing with insurance too. They may not cover more than that per 30 days. So $50 for a 30-day treatment, and if it's only once a day, then and then they won't fill it for, you know, until the 30 days is up, then I'm kind of gonna have to pay some extra money in there if insurance doesn't cover the entire dose that I need covered. However, that's still better than $3,600 by far. So anyway, so yesterday the nurse called me after I emailed her, and the nurse called me and said, "Okay, I just wanted to chat with you about a few things." She said, "I just want you to know that," because I told her I wanted to shop around when it came to the Crinone, because I wanted to find the cheapest option I could, depending on the pharmacy, you know. It's offered, obviously Crinone is kind of a specialty drug. Not every pharmacy is going to have it. To be honest with you, most pharmacies aren't going to have it, but I thought I would call around. A lot of pharmacies can order it in, and they special order it in without any extra cost to me. So she was like, "I just want to talk to you about a few things." She's like, "You know, calling around to pharmacies, if you want to do that, I understand that." And she said, "But honestly, you're not really going to be able to find it. Other pharmacies don't really carry this." And so the pharmacy that I was going through was just the hospital pharmacy. And she said, "So you're welcome to call around, but, you know, just know you may not be able to find it." And she said, "Also, this is a very expensive drug." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I want to run it through my insurance." And she said, "Well, here's the problem with running it through insurance." She said, airplane, by the way, I'm under a flight path, so we listen to airplanes all day long. She said, when you run it through insurance, a lot of times insurance is not going to cover this. She's like, "I rarely see insurance cover this form of progesterone. And if they do, it's usually going to be for like hormonal treatment for women going through menopause, not for infertility treatment." And she said, and then a lot of times if we run it through insurance, like the pharmacy, when they run it, then it'll trigger like a pre-auth. The insurance, it'll trigger like a pre-authorization request. So then the pharmacy will have to go back to the doctor, ask the doctor why they're prescribing it, take that information, go back to the insurance company and submit it, so then the insurance company can decide whether or not they're going to cover it. And she said, that's probably what's going to happen, and that can take anywhere from a day to 2 weeks. And she's like, "We do have time because your cycle's still a little ways out, but just know that takes time, that can take time, and that could cause a problem." And I said, "Well, you know, if we have time, I want to submit it, because this is expensive and I would so much rather know for sure whether or not insurance is going to cover it than to just pay it." And she said, "Okay." So anyway, she said, "Well, then just go ahead and do your research, send me an email when you've decided which pharmacy you want it sent to, and then we'll get it submitted." She said, "Other than that, call me on day 1 of your next cycle and we will get going." And I said, "Okay, do I need to start birth control on day 1? Because typically, I did it with my last cycle. Typically you start birth control just so they have like complete control of your cycle. Start birth control, and then a little while later then you start the estrogen, and then you'll start the progesterone, at least at my clinic anyway." Anyway, she said, "Oh no, we're not going to have you do birth control. We're just going to use your natural cycle." And I was like, what does that even mean? Like, what does that mean? I mean, obviously I know what that means, but like, I said, "So if I'm not doing birth control, does that mean I'm doing a natural cycle, does that mean I'm also not doing the estrogen?" And she said, "Nope, you're not doing the estrogen either. We're just gonna have you do progesterone." And I was like, what? That's so crazy to me. She said, "So this is how it works. Day 1 you'll call us." So let me just say too that like I was on the phone and this was a lot of information. It was kind of like fire hose. So I don't know for sure if these are the exact things she said, like the exact days she said, but I think this is what she said. So day 1 I contact her and let her know that it's day 1. And then on day 3, I think she said, I go in. It's a lot like an IUI. I go in and have an ultrasound to make sure that they're just checking to see if there's anything weird left over from my previous cycle, any weird follicles, anything left over, because they want everything to be perfect and pretty to be able to do a transfer. So day 3, that happens. And then on day, I think she said day 12, I want to say she said day 12, I start ovulation tests. And then on day, wait, what did I just say? Day 10, I start ovulation tests. Then on day 12, I will go in for, there is a lot of noise happening. I promise it's not usually this noisy. Airplanes, garbage trucks, the whole thing. My neighbor was just doing yard work, so. Anyway, day 12, I go in and they do another ultrasound to check my follicles to see if I'm about ready to ovulate. If I am getting close to ovulation, they will give me a trigger shot. Whether they give it to me in office or whether they give it to me and tell me to take it at a specific time, which is probably more likely, or order it into a pharmacy and then I go pick it up anyway. I'm not completely sure, but so then when they trigger ovulation, then I'll ovulate, and then after I ovulate, then they wait, she said, a couple days, and I will start the progesterone, and then like a week after ovulation is when they do the transfer. I'm just like, what? So I asked her, I said, so is it like as long as the transfer happens after ovulation within like a certain window, then you're good? Or is it like a very specific time? And she said, oh, it's a very specific, like, it's like an IUI where you're like, everything is so perfectly timed with, you know, how you're doing it. Same with a retrieval, everything's so perfectly timed. So she said, no, this will be perfectly timed. It has to be that way. I have no idea why. Just so all the lining is good and everything's in its proper place. I don't know. So it's funny because I was telling a friend this yesterday. I was telling her the whole story. And she was like, so why are they doing a natural cycle? And I was like, I didn't even ask. And it's funny because when I talk to people on the phone, especially when I'm getting a bunch of information that I really wasn't prepared for, my mind kind of goes blank. And I did think of questions and asked her these questions while I was talking to her. But then obviously you get off the phone and all these other questions come flooding in. And that's one of the questions that I'm like, why didn't I ask her that? Like, why didn't I ask her why we were doing a natural cycle? I don't know. Anyway, so I got off the phone with her. This is a long story, sorry. I got off the phone with her and I said to my husband, I will call around the pharmacies and check and see if I can find a good price. I would like you to contact the insurance company and see if they will pay for it. Like, actually talk to somebody, see if this is covered. Like, we need to know, you know. So I called around a couple pharmacies. Lo and behold, it is still cheaper to get it through the hospital than it is to get it through the other pharmacies that I called. It is special order everywhere outside I've called. However, they will order it in and it doesn't cost more, but it just costs more in general than the one at the hospital. And then my husband talked to the insurance and they said, we'll cover it at $50, 30 day. He didn't get a total, like, he's not completely clear on like what will be covered, but we probably need to get that clarified actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because I wonder if the way that the prescription is submitted will affect the coverage, meaning like the quantity that she submits, because I don't want that to affect it. I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit more. Anyway, we will cover it, $50, 30 day, whatever you call treatment, I don't know. There's no pre-authorization required. So that's amazing, like amazing. They said that they would have no problem filling it at the pharmacy that we're looking into having it filled at. And so everything should go perfectly. Now, while all this is happening, I actually sent an email to the doctor. So I still have, from my transfer back in February, I still have 2 of the 3 forms of progesterone that cause an allergic reaction. The first one they prescribed me is the progesterone shot in sesame oil. I am all out of that. That was the one that I was on while I was pregnant with Luke the whole time, and then that was the first one they prescribed me that I was on for, I don't know, 10 days or so before I had an allergic reaction. And it just so happens that the allergic reaction that I had was like the last dose. And then the next one they prescribed me was the shot in olive oil, and I had an allergic reaction to that. And then the third one they prescribed me was just the capsules, Prometrium. So I still have the olive oil and the Prometrium. So I emailed the doctor and I said, hey, I still have these 2 progesterones, and I wonder, the Crinone is so expensive, and at this point I didn't realize insurance was going to cover it. However, I'm still not very confident insurance will cover it, because insurance is annoying and awful, and I mean, I'm grateful to have insurance, but everything is just so, I mean, they'll just get you on one little point. So we'll see. I'm not 100% confident they're going to cover. Who knows? But I emailed the doctor and I said, Crinone is crazy expensive, and I just would really like to try one of these other forms of progesterone to see if I have an allergic reaction to it, because they would be a better option when it comes to price. And she said, and she responded back, she was really quick in her response, and she said, if you would like to try the Prometrium, so the capsule, she said I'd be okay with that, because Prometrium is the type of drug that if you needed to stop it in the middle of your pregnancy, you could without any issue. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to stop a shot without problem. I would prefer the capsule over anything anyway, let's be honest. A capsule is super easy to take. So what the plan is tomorrow, so the nurse is off today, so tomorrow I'm going to talk to the nurse and I'm going to have her send in the prescription. And then I will call the pharmacy, make sure that they run it through my insurance. And then if insurance is not going to cover it, because I'm only going to know for sure if insurance covers it once it gets sent to the pharmacy. So then if insurance does not cover it, then I will test and take the Prometrium and see if my body has a reaction to it. If it does, then obviously we are going to go the Crinone route. If it does not, I would prefer to go Crinone because I've already like tested that a little bit. However, the Prometrium is way cheaper. So it just kind of depends on whether or not the Crinone is going to be covered by insurance. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm not going to try the Prometrium because I don't want to have an allergic reaction if I don't have to have an allergic reaction. So we'll see. I don't know what to expect, but let's just all hope that insurance doesn't have a problem and everything just works beautifully. It would be a miracle. Everything's a miracle when it comes to insurance. So anyway, that's the update. I'll keep you guys posted. I can't believe in my next cycle I'm going to be doing a transfer. It's literally like a month away from now I will be having a transfer done. So let's hope it all works this time.